అందుకని
పూజ
షష్టి పూర్తి ఇవాళ
ఇంకా కొంచెం టైం ఉందండి దానికి.
అదే
సార్ ఇంకా జగన్ చెందవుతున్నా సార్.
జగన్ యువర్ ఎల్డర్ చీఫ్ మినిస్టర్ జగన్ ఇస్ ఎల్డర్.
నేనే
$1 million question సార్.
మళ్ళీ అందరూ జగన్ అన్న అంటున్నారు, నిన్న తమ్ముడు అంటున్నారు.
హలో కళ్యాణ్,
అది చాలా పెద్ద ప్రశ్న యాక్చువల్గా.
నిన్న తమ్ముడు అంటున్నారు.
హాయ్ ఎవ్రీవన్.
హలో
మురళీధరన్ గారు,
వంశీ గారు బాగున్నారా?
సార్ బాగున్నాం సార్, మీరు ఎలా ఉన్నారు సార్?
మురళీధరన్ ఆ జగన్ ని కూడా ముందు తమ్ముడు అన్నారు సార్, తర్వాత అన్న అయ్యాడు.
డబ్బులు ఇస్తే అన్నయ్య అయిపోయాడా?
క్వైట్ ఏడు అన్నయ్య అయిపోతాడు ఏదో రోజు మనకి.
డబ్బులు ఇస్తే అన్నయ్య అయిపోతాడు.
ఇప్పుడే అన్నయ్య అయిపోయాడు సార్.
అయిపోయా? ఓకే, కొంచెం నేను వెనకబడి ఉన్నానండి, తెలీదు.
నిన్న కూడా అన్నయ్య అంటాం బాబు, డబ్బులు ఇవ్వు
సార్. మీరు ఒక తెల్ల రేషన్ కార్డు లేకపోతే ఏదైనా సర్టిఫికేట్ కో పట్టుకొని రండి, అప్పుడు డబ్బులు ఇస్తాడు.
అందరికి ఇచ్చాడండి మెడికల్ రెప్స్.
అవును, సార్. ప్రెసిడెంట్ గారు 7-8 స్టార్ట్ చేస్తారా?
yes sir. Stop sir.
May I also request Muralidharan and Krishna Kumar, if they are willing, they can join for the Rotary song.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, if you have to unmute your mic.
Yeah, absolutely.
done.
Thank you, Murali. On count of 1, we'll start.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. मानव की सहायता खर्च यही आखिरी, इसका नाम रोटरी, रोटरी रोटरी, इसका नाम रोटरी। सकल विश्व में बढ़ाना प्रेम भाव आखिरी, इसका नाम रोटरी, रोटरी रोटरी, इसका नाम रोटरी। पुण्यपति कामगार मिलकर करे कारोबार, अपना देश की करेंगे एक साथ जागीरी, इसका नाम रोटरी, रोटरी रोटरी, इसका नाम रोटरी। सकल विश्व अपनाना, सबका मार्ग समझना, सबको मार्ग यही बताना, इसका नाम रोटरी, रोटरी, इसका नाम रोटरी। थैंक यू.
Thank you so much, dear past presidents and seniors. Yes, so today we are going to have a special program from an eminent speaker who is our guest and will be joining shortly. So before that, let me just take through our standard process. So first of all, I would like to bring forward to you the information that has happened in the month of October. So with regard to the service projects, yes, today, this week, this month, we are having the donor, our past president, Rotarian Vijay Sagar Garu, who has given the donation for our service projects for 2 projects this time. It's not just one. Just like the last month, now we have invoked our Jnananand Ashram. Along with that, we have started the service even to the Jan Yuva Foundation, also sharing that amount between these 2 organizations. As because of COVID, there are not many people in the Jnananand Ashram, because some people have to go home because they're old people. So it was actually distributed to 2 different organizations for the best benefit of it. And ఇది ఎలా చేస్తున్నామంటే, ఈ సెకండ్ ఆర్గనైజేషన్ జన్ యువాకి వీఆర్ డొనేటింగ్ ఇట్ ఇన్ ద ఫార్మ్ ఆఫ్ మిల్క్ సప్లై ఫర్ ద చిల్డ్రన్. ఇది యాక్చువల్గా స్ట్రీట్ చిల్డ్రన్ అండ్ ఆర్ఫన్ చిల్డ్రన్ కి యాక్చువల్లీ ఇట్ ఈస్ గివింగ్ ఏ కంప్లీట్ సపోర్ట్. హూ ఆర్ హ్యావింగ్ 4 what you say centers in Visakhapatnam, మన MEP కాలనీ అండ్ బిర్లా జంక్షన్ అండ్ గాజువాక, 4 సెంటర్స్ వాళ్ళ పిల్లలందరికీ కూడా దే టేకింగ్ కేర్. సో వాళ్ళకి వీఆర్ సప్లైంగ్ మంత్లీ సప్లై ఆఫ్ మిల్క్ వాళ్ళకి. యాక్చువల్గా లాస్ట్ టైమే మేము ఇనిషియేట్ చేసాం అది. So last month, Mana past President Krishna Kumar Garu has come forward with a donation, and which we have supported Jnananand Ashram as well as Geneva Foundation. And this month we have our Vijay Sagar Garu, who has come forward for the same, and the same was being processed. And also, just for the information of the club, I would like to bring forward, because of this COVID, last time regular actually items now what we have done is we have tied up with Baba Bachar, where those people మన లిస్ట్ అంతా కూడా వాళ్ళకి ఇస్తే వాళ్ళే అరేంజ్ చేసి వాళ్ళే రెడీ చేసి and somebody from our side also will go, and sometimes they will directly do the delivery also of the products directly in the form of what you say material or ration kanda groceries kanda requirements in the direct supply chestunam valaki. And this support was also being offered by free of cost service manki Ravi garu, who is from Baba Bajar, is extending that support also. That's also fine. So this month there are 2 service projects. One is for this thing, and the second thing from my side. So in memory of my mother, I have actually donated a fridge to one of these organizations, which will be happening this week. So I'll be posting the information also shortly in the group. So 2 service projects have been initiated. Apart from that, last 2 weeks or 3 weeks back, మనం conduct చేసినటువంటి quiz program is one of the biggest what you say success in the whole history, because 463 మంది పిల్లలు వచ్చి they have taken the quiz program. Shortly total graphics and analytics కూడా మనం డౌన్లోడ్ చేస్తున్నాము. We'll be sharing in the group officially. So మన మధు గారు and we people have organized, and the program was initiated by Muralidharan garu, Krishna Kumar garu, Nandurunna Maroj, and where that day we have actually released the inaugurated our YouTube channel also. So that day actually 438 people have taken the exam online on the same day within the next 40 minutes. So analytics and AI, in this week we are releasing the complete certificates to all the people, and for the first time we are releasing certificates online. Certificate group lo ee week share cheyadam, as well as మన తాలూకా participants ki andariki kuda certificates avi kuda we are dispatching them through online. That's what we are doing. So they are getting their certificates direct to their email. So to reduce the efforts of physical printing, we have actually gone through that during this lockdown period. After that, we can again roll back to our standard protocol of handing over the physical certificates also.
Sir, my voice break అవుతుంది sir.
Sir,
my voice చాలా break అవుతుంది.
Oh, sir, how is it, sir? మిగతా వాళ్ళకి ఎలా ఉందండి? Is it clear or is it breaking?
ఇప్పుడు బాగుంది. చాలా బ్రేకింగ్ ఉంది.
ఆయన బ్రేకింగ్ న్యూస్ చెప్తున్నారండి.
అందరికీ అలాగే బ్రేక్
his Wi-Fi connection is a bit slow on day.
Even I can also.
Good evening.
నమస్కారం సార్.
నమస్తే.
అది ఏరా మీరు రాలేదని బాధపడుతున్నా.
మీ జోకులు విని ఆనందిస్తున్నాను.
వచ్చేస్తున్నాం మధ్యరాత్రి అంత సాయం మనుషులు మనకు జరగదు కదండి. గోపి నాతో పాటు మా అమ్మకి కాశీలో కొంచెం నాకు తోడు దగ్గర చేసాను. Yes, sir. I have just changed the broadband connection changes to see in case if it can sort out the problem. Yes, sir. So that is what has happened with the quiz program and the announcements and results. 12 people have been declared as the winners of the particular quiz program, and 432 people have attended the program. Our statistics and group share shortly in this week. So these 2 are the major what you say program that we have organized in this month. So along with that, let me recognize the celebrities of this month, the birthday boys and anniversaries. So first of all, I would like to recognize the birthdays in the month of October till today. So October 3rd, we have the birthday of our Yoga Srinivas garu, who is Srinivas Kulavati. We also call him as Yoga Srinivas. And October 9th, it's SK Agrawal garu. And 10th of October, Mana Ramkrishna garu, Boli Ramkrishna garu birthday andi. And date of Mana wedding anniversary of Subramaniam garu is on 11th of October. And retired Nikesh Kumar, 13th October is a birthday andi. Major Rao garu, P.P. Rao garu talaka birthday is on 14th of October. And Subramaniam Surinaran garu kuda andi. These 2 people are also celebrating today officially. That's so nice. And tomorrow we have Naveen garu and Dr. Swami garu are celebrating their birthdays tomorrow. So from across the club, let us all wish them happy birthday and happy anniversary wishes to all of them. I would request all the people to please clap for them and wish them birthday, sir. birthday to all of you. And the people. Yes, sir. So, along with that, today we are having a special program where we'll just have a small idea about what is GSE, because there are so many, the new generation Rotarians are there in our club right now. So about the GSE information, and at the same time, we have the speaker, Mr. John McCarthy, who is actually from US and who is our visitor during GSE. That will be going through that shortly in a complete information. So I request Krishna Kumar to guide before he comes. John, shall we go ahead with introducing, or shall we introduce after he comes in?
Sir, he is already in.
Okay.
He is already in. He is muted his mic and his video.
Okay, that's so nice of it. Let me just make him the focus so that he can have access. Mr. John. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Rotary Club of Visakhapatnam, sir.
Thank you so much.
Let us invite our speaker of the day, Mr. John.
Hello, John.
Krishna, how are you?
Oh, good. How are you?
It's the best day of my life.
That is so nice to see eminent people coming into this after a long, what do you say, a friendship and the contacts here because of Rotary. That's so nice of it. So I would like to directly request our past president and advisor, Rotarian Krishna Kumar Garu, to please introduce our speaker of the day, Mr. John McCarthy.
Mr. President and friends, it's my pleasure to introduce an old friend and RF alumni, John McCarthy. He was here in Vizag in January 1994 as a member of GSE team from a district in Kansas, USA. And he was my guest for 9 days. We have kept in touch over the years and share a lot of views about many things via email always. I always thought he will come back and address our club. Once again, never expected it will be via Zoom. This is pandemic's positive side. John has a BA in Mass Communications, Masters in Education in Higher Education Administration. He has a MS in Counseling Psychology and a doctorate also in Counseling Psychology. He's a licensed professional counselor and a licensed psychologist. At present, he is a professor, Department of Counseling, Indiana University of Pennsylvania. He has taught over the years on various topics relating to counseling. He was a visiting professor to UK and many universities in US. To his credit, he has 32 publications, addressed 61 conferences both in US and around the world. He was a guest lecturer to various universities. He is a professor and writer in his subject. He has done book reviews, delivered keynote addresses and various presentations. He also appeared on television. He has received academic awards and has been nominated for Outstanding Instructor at university level. John is married to Suzanne and has 2 daughters, Claire, who is in the university, and Kate, who is getting ready to get into the university. Due to paucity of time, I have given you a brief biodata. Actually, John has given me his CV, which runs into 27 pages. We'll need a couple of hours to read all that. Sorry, John, I can't read the whole lot. Welcome and over to you.
Krishna, thank you so much for the wonderful introduction.
So nice. Thank you so much, Krishna Kumar Garu. And welcome, Mr. John. The club is excited to have you as a speaker today. And yes, we have a whooping attendance of around 42 people on Zoom. That's so nice of it. Yes, Mr. John, the floor is yours.
Mr. Srikant, thank you so much for all of your help and coordination in allowing me to be here today. And thank you all for joining me. It's an honor to be with all of you. Mr. Srikant, is it possible for me to be the host so that I can share my screen?
Yes, you are already the host. You can share your screen.
Thank
I've
you
already
so
added
much.
you. Yes, sir.
I didn't realize that. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So
Yes.
my interest is in creative thinking and creative problem solving. And I had the honor and pleasure, as Krishna mentioned, to be in Visakhapatnam in 1994. I have a question. Are things the same today in Visakhapatnam as they were in 1994?
Not at all. A lot has changed in the last 27 years.
And can anyone tell me how have things changed in Visakhapatnam since 1994?
It has grown phenomenally.
The infrastructure, the width have totally changed.
Very much, because that time there was no mobile phones. Now we have mobile phones, which is a great change.
So there are more people, the infrastructure has changed, and how else has it changed?
A lot of industries have also come up.
Because one of the things that I remember about Visakhapatnam is the hospitality. The second thing I remember about Visakhapatnam is the hospitality. The third thing I remember about Visakhapatnam is the hospitality. And the fourth thing that I remember is probably the most delicious food that I have ever had in my whole life. One of the things, I'm sorry, go ahead. One of the things that I remember very distinctly about my time in Visakhapatnam is the warmth of the people, how kind, how welcoming, how friendly they were, and especially your Rotary Club. And Krishna, I will always treasure your friendship. And I will always treasure how kind that you and your family were, not only to me, but to the other team members. And it's not only your friendship that's meant a lot to me, but I've also had the pleasure of staying in touch with another team member since 1994, and she and I talk regularly too. So one of the things that I took away from Rotary in my visit there was not only how wonderful India was as a country, and specifically Visakhapatnam and Vijayawada, but also how, in some ways, how small our world is. That is to say, the whole idea that we can stay in touch, and the whole idea that we can continue relationships and continue friendships. And the other thing that I always will remember is that there was a district conference while I was there. And the district conference brought together so many people in a spirit of contributing to community and contributing to the world. And that's one of the things that also I took away. When I returned to the United States, I also spoke to Rotary clubs. I think it was a year or two ago, I spoke to the local Rotary Club. And so I always have a great fondness and respect for Rotary. And I have to say, I admire and respect and appreciate all that you are doing.
Good evening, this is Naveen Bachu. Mr. John, I would like to answer your question, how Visakhapatnam has grown in 27 years.
Yes, please.
We are the 10th highest per capita income in India.
I'm sorry, say that one more.
The per capita income per person, we are the highest in India. We are at the 10th position. If you compare to Delhi, Bombay and everything, Visakhapatnam being so remote, it is so developed.
So,
Naveen, would you please allow the speaker to speak? We have come to listen to him. We all know Vizag. Later on you can have a discussion, but we would like to speak to our August speaker who has come here.
Okay, yeah, please carry on.
So thank you. And
Okay.
so I understand that
Please.
Visakhapatnam has changed in many ways, and I'm curious about how that has happened. My interest is in creativity, creative problem solving, and creative thinking. You're able to see my screen, are you not?
I am able to see you, sir. We are all able to see you.
Okay. So one of the things that's always fascinated me since I was a child is how do people come up with ideas? How do people think? And I was always fascinated by especially my brothers and sisters. I'm the youngest of 8 children, and I was always amazed at how they could come up with ideas so quickly, whether it was playing a game or some kind of small problem that they had. How were they able to think about creative solutions so quickly? And so from that, I've just developed a professional interest in terms of creative problem solving. Now, one of the things I'd like to do today is just do some exercises and some activities. If you'd like to participate, that's fine. If you don't want to participate, that's also fine. One of the things in terms of the first slide is the whole idea of thinking differently. And many adults find it uncomfortable and perhaps tiring to think differently. Would anyone care to guess what percentage of adults might find it uncomfortable and exhausting to think creatively? Well, the answer is 60 to 80% in terms of what the studies have found. 60 to 80%. Now think about that. When you were a child, do you think that you were creative? When you're an adult, do you think that you're creative? Well, one of the things I want to invite you to think about here is an exercise. And this is an exercise that will take about 45 seconds. When I am creative, I am. I would like you to fill in that blank and take about 45 seconds to do that, please. Whatever comes to your mind, when I am creative, I am. And just think about or jot down any ideas that come to mind. Let's take about 45 seconds, please. Okay, 45 seconds. When I am creative, I am. What kind of words or phrases come to your mind, please?
I am architecture for my life.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, please.
I am architecture for my life.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm having troubles with some audio. Keep going, please. Someone else. When I am creative, I am.
Happy.
Happy, thank you. Another one, please.
Forget time.
Forget time, thank you, please. Thank you, keep going, please.
Challenging.
Challenging. So challenging, happy, forget time. Are there any others that anyone would care to share, please?
Energetic.
I'm sorry?
Energetic.
And energetic, thank you. Another one, please, from anyone.
Life is this minute.
Life is this minute, so you're in the moment. Thank you. Keep going, please. Anyone?
And I feel like when I'm creative, it's like I'm putting 100% attention.
100% attention. So, Mr. Srikanth, would you say the word is focused?
Focus, yes.
Okay. So all of
More
those
focused.
I'm a leader. All of those phrases and words that you just used, happy, in the moment, focused, energetic. Would you say that those are positive words or not so positive words? Probably positive, right? So to me, creative thinking is fun, energetic, and also adds to kind of the joy of my day. And that's one of the reasons I love it so much. So here are some words that one of the authors who's noted in the field came up with: dynamic and brave and open and developing and caring and collaborative. Again, all of those can also be seen in terms of positive. So when it comes to creative problem solving, make sure that you are working on which problem. What's that blank there? Anyone care to guess?
Right problem.
Thank you so much. Make sure that you are working on the right problem. How many of you have ever had the experience of trying to work out something only to realize that you were working on the wrong problem? Anyone ever have that experience? Because one of the things that also brought to mind is something that, if I'm going to see if this can work, hold on 1 second, please. Can you see this?
Mr. John, can you share the sound also?
I'm sorry.
Would you like to share the sound?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Yes, sir. Would you like to share the sound also?
He says volume.
Oh,
increase the volume.
The audio sound is to be shared.
Right. Hold on 1 second, please.
In the Zoom. Okay.
Can you hear that?
Perfect.
No.
Oops.
Nice.
So what we have here, is a situation where a person is trying to work on the wrong problem. And one of the keys to focusing here is, let me try to find this one more time. Can you see that? Can you see my slides right now?
Yes, we can see you.
Only your PPT.
You can see your slides.
Okay, thank you. So when I say creativity, who comes to mind? Is it a famous person or not a famous person? And in a lot of cases, when I say the word creativity, who comes to mind? It might be a famous person. It might be one of these legendary people in terms of big C creativity. The one thing I want to encourage people to think about, though, is that there's all kinds of creativity. And this is something that came out about 10 years ago. It's basically different levels of creativity, where there's small, mini C creativity, there's little c creativity, there's pro C creativity, and then there's legendary C creativity. And maybe these are the famous people that we think about in terms of creativity. But there's all other kinds of creativity. And so one of the things to...
Naveen, please switch off your mic.
So one of the things I put here is 21,718. And one of the things I think about here is that in terms of mini C creativity, I try to think about not how old I am in terms of years, but how old I am in terms of days. And so when people say, how are you doing? This is the best day of my life. I am 21,718 days old. For me, that's a mini C creativity in terms of how to look, how I tend to how to look at life. Moving on. We all have two things in common. We all have a brain and we all have challenges, problems, whatever you want to call them. So one of the things to remember here in terms of creativity is that all brains are wired for, anyone care to guess?
Problem solving.
Well, in some ways, yes. All brains are wired for speed, efficiency, quickness, correct? All brains are wired to try to do things quickly. So, for instance, if I asked you to stand up and walk to the door, what would you do? Would you walk directly to the door? Would you walk around in circles for 5 minutes and then walk to the door? Which would you do? Would you walk directly to the door? How many would say, yeah, I think I would walk directly to the door? So if you'd walk directly to the door, it's a whole matter of how can I do things as quickly as possible? How can I do things as efficiently as possible? When it comes to creativity, though, oftentimes that may not be the route to take. So here's another idea. About 10 years ago, I walked into a toy store. I really like toy stores. And I was greeted by the manager who showed me this box. And there was money inside this box. You see, I don't know if you can see, there's a little window in this box. And there was money in it. And he said, you can have the money if you can open the box. I said, no problem. So I pulled on this end, it didn't work. I pulled on this end, it didn't work. I looked at the bottom, there's nothing in the bottom. He said, you can't break the top, but I tried to pull on the top. I couldn't get it. And he said, here, let me show you how to open this box. He took the box, he turned it around like this, and he opened the box. Okay, simple enough, right? He closed the box, he gave it back to me. He said, here, now you open this box. I pulled on this end. I pulled on this end. I pulled like this. I did the exact same things as I did before, and I did not open the box. Which made me realize that sometimes we do the same things over and over and over, and we expect a different result, correct? How many of you have ever lost your cell phone? Has anyone here ever lost a cell phone or lost anything? Sure. So when we lose something, what do we tend to do? We tend to go back to where we were before, correct? And if we can't find it there, what do we tend to do? We tend to go back to that same place again and go back to that same place again and go back to that same place again, thinking that it still might be there. There's something called the streetlight effect. The streetlight effect goes like this. There's a person who was out late at night and looking for something, and a police officer came by and said to this person, can I help you? And the person said, I lost my car keys. And the police officer said, where did you last see your car keys? And the person said, the last time I saw my car keys was about 3 blocks away in a park. And the police officer said, well, why in the world are you looking here on this street? And he said, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. There's a street light here, and this is the only place where I can see. The street light effect says that we tend to look or to answer or to resolve problems in the easiest way possible. Again, our brains are wired for efficiency and speed, but sometimes when it comes to creativity, that's not how it works. How many of you have ever heard of that phrase, thinking out of the box? Anyone ever heard that? Thinking out of the box, right? So the question is, where did that come from and what does that mean? Here is the next exercise if you'd like to do this. There are 9 dots on this page. The challenge here is to connect all 9 dots with 4 consecutive lines. All 9 dots with 4 consecutive lines without lifting your pen or pencil. You're welcome to take about 45 seconds to do this. The goal here, again, is to connect all 9 dots with 4 consecutive lines without lifting your pen or pencil. Take about 45 seconds, please. Okay. If you did not get it correct, don't worry. Very, 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 very few people do. The answer, or one of the answers to this problem, or to this challenge, is to do something like this. I'm going to draw this as best as I can. So with the very first line here, you're coming down and you're going outside of the box. Outside of the box and then coming up this way. And then coming over here and coming down here. The answer to this problem is the first line is going outside of the box. When people, or I should say, when I first ran across this problem, my first inclination was to keep all the lines inside the box. I didn't think about going outside of the box. So when we talk about the 9-dot problem, it goes back to thinking out of the box. Now, the other idea here is, how do we respond to new ideas? How do we respond to new ideas? Has anyone here ever seen something like this? What is this? What is this? Anyone?
It's a post-it.
Post-it notebook.
Post-it notes, right?
Yeah. Stick-on pads.
So this whole idea of coming up with something that could unstick and then stick again came out around 1977. But at first, the makers of Post-it notes said, oh, we're not really sure what to do with this. We're not really sure how this could work. Well, there are two people, Spencer Silver and Art Fry, who developed this further into what is a Post-it note. And guess what? When they started to sell Post-it notes, no one bought them. No one bought Post-it notes. Why? because they didn't know what to do with them. This was a new idea and they didn't know how it worked. They didn't know what they should do with them. So what the company did is they had a Post-it note fair in a city in the United States. People started to understand what Post-it notes were all about. So it's that whole notion of new ideas. Are they good or are they not? Are they going to help me or are they not going to help me? So one of the ideas here is bottled water. When bottled water first came out in the United States, again, I think it was around 1977, 1978, when I first saw bottled water, I thought that is an idea that nobody's going to care about. Nobody wants bottled water. I thought it was kind of a silly idea. I was very wrong. I was very wrong. So how do people respond to new ideas? Now, here's the next item. There are three most important words in creativity. The three most important words in creativity. And what else? And what else? So we're going to do a quick exercise around that question of and what else. Are you ready? If you want to participate, great. If you don't want to participate, that's also fine. Can you see what this is?
A torchlight.
Yes, a torchlight, thank you. The question is, and what else? In 30 seconds, I would like to ask you to think about or write down, what else could this be? Besides a torchlight, what else could it be? Take about 30 seconds, please. Okay, I am ready when you're ready, please. What else could this be, please?
Paperweight.
A paperweight, thank you. Keep going, please. Anybody?
A lightsaber from Star Wars.
A lightsaber. And what else, please?
A battery shelf.
Sorry, Mr. Srikant?
A battery shelf. A shelf to store the batteries.
A battery shelf, thank you. Keep going, please.
A short stick.
It can be a distress signal.
A distress signal, thank you. What else, please?
A short stick.
A short stick, thank you. What else, please?
You can use it to store illegal currency notes.
Thank you. And what else, please?
It can be magnetic also.
A magnet also, thank you. Keep going. What else, please?
Can be a receiver.
What, I'm sorry?
It can be a microphone or a receiver, both ways.
Oh, thank you. So the point of this exercise is that one item is not necessarily the only item for which it could be used. Next, here are a couple of other ideas in the time that I have remaining about creativity. It starts with a question. One of the things that is of interest to me is when we look at, for example, people who have invented things or come up with new ideas, there's really a question underneath what they have done. And one of the ideas that sparked this in terms of the slide is the whole idea of turning something upside down. And that whole idea goes back to complaining. Complaining. So let me tell you a story. One time a person had a quote unquote complaint or a problem, and the problem was that they could not get money out of the bank after 5 p.m. at night and before 9 a.m. in the morning. So instead of complaining about it, the question became, how can I get money out of the bank, get cash if I want to get cash out of my account after 5 p.m. at night and before 9 a.m. in the morning? That was the question. So it was a matter of turning a problem or turning something, a dilemma, into a question. How can you turn something that's bothersome into a question? And this person went on to help to develop an automated teller machine, an ATM. So be a problem finder in keeping track of those bug bites. Here's another example. In 1970, a person came back from a vacation in the Caribbean and was in JFK Airport in New York City. This person was standing in immigration waiting in line and holding suitcases, and some kind of machine went by carrying a bunch of things that had 4 wheels on it. And this person looked at the person next to him and said, wouldn't it be great if suitcases had wheels? Wouldn't it be great if suitcases had wheels? It's a very simple observation, wasn't it? Because in those days, no suitcases had wheels. So this person went on to create suitcases with wheels and patented it. But guess what? When this person went to sell them, no one was interested. How many of you would prefer to have suitcases without wheels? Probably very few, right? And he was told when he first developed this that people were not interested in suitcases with wheels. So it goes back to that whole idea of something called inattentional blindness. Inattentional blindness is seeing things that may be there, but we just don't realize. So I don't know if you've ever had this experience where you drive, maybe you drive to work or you drive to the store, you drive someplace very often. And then one day, you're in the passenger seat instead of driving. And from the passenger seat, you see all kinds of things that you didn't see before. And in some ways, that goes back to the whole notion of creativity and seeing things differently than you did before. This is an acronym with 7 letters that is a tool to be used in terms of coming up with new ideas. And substitute, combine, alter, modify, put to other uses, eliminate, and reverse or rearrange. If we had more time, we could do some exercises around this. I want to be mindful of time, and I realize that I'm coming to the end of my time here. But let me just talk briefly about one of those. The C back here is for combine. So in terms of combining, this is a great quote that says, every creative idea is the combination of previously existing ideas or bits of stimuli, putting them into something new. And there are some really interesting examples here. And one of the examples is combining the piano with exercise. So if you had a choice between taking escalators or taking the stairs, many people would take the escalator. And there's a video of something that was done, I think it was in Denmark, where they came in one morning in a subway stop and built piano, basically a piano, into the stairs, so that as you walked up the stairs, it made different piano key sounds. And right next to it was an escalator. And what they found is that these people stopped taking the escalator and started taking the stairs that made music, combining things in different ways. That, in some ways, is the essence of creativity. So just in terms of a couple of other things here, I'm thinking in terms of time. Mr. Srikanth, I realize that I'm at the 35-minute mark. I just want to make sure, I want to see how we're doing for time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can continue. We have no problem.
Can I continue for maybe just a few more minutes?
Yes, yes, very much, sir. Please.
Okay. So let me come back here and talk about combinations then. Combinations in terms of a car design. Designing cars based on nature. Designing cars based on the shape of a fish moving through water. Designing traffic patterns based on how schools of fish move through water. Combining medical care with race car driving. So in race car driving, and I don't know a lot about race car driving, but every car has a crew that fixes the tires and checks the engines and does all that very, very quickly, correct? And has to make decisions very quickly based on maybe the weather, based on maybe the humidity. They make decisions quickly based on the information that they have. So combining emergency room procedures with race car driving, car design with nature, piano with music. So those are just some kind of examples. So maybe the last thing I'll talk about here is embracing constraints and how embracing constraints can also help in terms of creativity. There is something called the random word technique. And if we had more time, I would actually do the random word technique. The random word technique is where you have something, and again, we'll go back to the idea of a flashlight. How could the flashlight be improved by choosing something that has nothing to do with the flashlight? So in other words, let's say that you had to come up with ideas about ways to improve a flashlight, combining that with the word of pens. How can you combine pens with flashlights as a way to make them better? That is the essence of the random word technique. So when it comes to creativity, I just want to share one final thought with you. And this is a quotation by somebody who's very well known in creativity. And he said, to be creative, expect to work hard, have lots of small sparks, and learn how to bring them together. So with that, I also want to say thank you for the honor of not only being with you, but the honor of continuing this relationship 26 years later, because for me, it's something that has meant a great deal. And I will always have very fond thoughts of Visakhapatnam, Vijayawada, and all the wonderful Rotarians there. So thank you so very much.
That is so nice, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. John, for all the efforts and your addressing of this particular club, and especially for the content that you have designed. Thank you so much. It is really exciting. Yes, and we have a huge number of audience over here, and I request some of the senior Rotarians to have a word. Sir, Muralidharanji. Sir, Krishna Kumar garu, mee audio poyindandi okkasari sound of we are unable to hear you.
I'm on, I say.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
What do you want me to
Now the
do?
floor is open for discussion with the speaker. Few minutes.
Any questions?
Any questions? Anyone would like to talk?
Mr.
Okay.
John,
Yes.
Mr. John, have you, can you give any personal examples of creativity which you have applied?
Creativity that I have applied?
Yeah.
This is a book that I'll be coming out with shortly.
Okay.
It should be available next month. And so in terms of creativity for me, I'm fascinated by people's stories.
Yeah.
And so in addition to the writings that I do in this book, I have basically brought together people's stories of how they have applied creativity. So remember when I said, when I think of, or when you think about creativity, who comes to mind? And it may be somebody very famous. What I've tried to do in this book is find situations and people who are not necessarily famous, but have done a lot of creative things. So can I tell you a quick story? Would that be okay?
Yes. I think, Shrikant Garu?
Yes, sir.
I have, in this book, I have 50 stories. And one of the stories in this book is about someone who many years ago lived in the southern part of the United States and took a trip to New York City.
Okay.
And noticed that in terms of the trolley cars in New York City at that time, every so often they would have to stop and wipe down the windshield because of snow and rain. This person went back to her home in the southern part of the United States and started to work on this invention that would clear rain and snow from a windshield. This person went on to develop the windshield wiper. And when you think about it, to me, I love that story because it's in some ways, when I get into a car and I turn the windshield wipers on, I take that for granted, correct? I never thought to myself, well, who invented the windshield wiper? What went into it? And this person who invented the windshield wiper never got any notoriety, did not become famous. I don't think she got any money from it. But her idea was in some ways both remarkable and something that we become accustomed to.
Yes.
So for me, the whole idea of creativity and creative problem solving is really all around us every day. And one of the things I always try to do is to notice it. And sometimes that's hard, but I try to notice all the creativity around us. So for instance, Post-it notes come in a lot of different colors, come in a lot of different shapes. And we think about books and we think about flashlights and we think about all those things that are really the outcome of creativity and maybe the outcome of a lot of people's questions and certainly their persistence.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anybody would like to ask anything? Last 1 or 2 questions to the speaker. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. So thank you, Mr. John, for such a nice and elaborative, what do you say, activity-based topic of the day. That is so nice, the creative problem solving. That is so nice of it. And my dear Rotarians, this is the power of Rotary. Rotary has brought people together across continents. Say 27 years back, Mr. John is a visitor to our particular club on GSC, the Global Student Exchange. And our advisor and past president, Krishna Kumar Garu, is a person with whom actually Mr. John has stayed. And that's a friendship that has been continuing from then till now. And recently, after a discussion with Mr. Krishna Kumar Garu, and we had a nice communication with Mr. John over the last 1 week, scheduling this particular program. And it is so nice of him to get up at this early hours. He is currently in US and it's very early over there for them. So he has joined for our program. Thank you so much, Mr. John, for your visit to our club on this virtual platform finally.
I want to say thank you to all of you for joining me today. I hope it's been helpful. I wish you a wonderful evening, and someday I do hope to return to Vijayawada and Visakhapatnam.
Mr. John, I just want to add, from what you said about hospitality, the only thing that has not changed in Vizag, the hospitality of Krishna Kumar and his family.
Very good.
It continues to grow every time. We are still fortunate to be the hosts of that great family, and we enjoy regularly. We look forward your visit to Vizag and stay with us for some time. Again,
I would like nothing better than to return.
Yeah.
And again, Krishna, I thank you for your friendship over many of these years, and thank you for staying in touch. And my best to all of you, and my deepest appreciation for all that you do as Rotarians in making the world a better place. I really appreciate that, and I'm honored by what you do.
Oh, you're welcome, John. We look forward to your visit to Vizag. You promised some time back that you will be coming to eastern part of the world.
Achha.
Maybe when you visit your in-laws this side, you will come.
And I certainly hope to return. I would like nothing better.
Yeah.
I would just ask one thing.
Yes,
I would just ask one thing. Remember how I
Yes,
said
yes.
that I had the most delicious food ever in Visakhapatnam? Do you remember how I said that? I just can't have it really, really spicy. So that's the only thing I would ask.
True.
But I never had the better hospitality. I never had friendlier, more welcoming people. The district conference was wonderful. And just meeting all the Rotarians there is something that I'll always fondly remember and appreciate.
So nice of you. Yes, sir. Thank you so much. And finally, we are coming to the end of the today's Speak Commit program. Thank you so much, John, once again from the entire club for your time and space, and especially the topic of the day. That's so nice of it. Yes.
Thank
And
you
yes.
for all the help too.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And thank you for visiting Rotary Club of Visakhapatnam on this early hours of your time zone. So nice of it. Yes, my dear friends and dear Rotarians. So, before closing of this program, we have a few other small topics. Let me just quickly take them through. Before that, our treasurer is also over here, Mr. Harun Raj, Rotarian Harun Raj. So, there is a small treasurer's remarks also. So, yes, Mr. Harun.
Happy evening, dear Rotarians. I'm here to intimate you that receipt for Rotary paid for those will be generated soon and will be given over hopefully by the next week. I'm also coordinating with Mr. President and Mrs. Secretary for discussing the financial plan for the year, and we shall be discussing the same in the next closed meeting of the club. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Harun. So, yes, my dear Rotarians, we are releasing the complete list of the people who have paid their dues officially, and will be generating the receipts also to everyone in this coming 1 week. And at the same time, we'll be having the board meet and the closed door meeting also in order to discuss about the future plans of our Rotary, and as well as the activity that we are going to start from the coming week. And yes, I have the announcement for the coming week. From the next week onwards, Wednesday onwards, in our speaker meets, we are going to talk about our people also, the Rotarians who have started the club. So we are connecting generations, the people who have started the club from that particular period onwards, the past presidents, and also we'll know about the new Rotarians of this chapter. So I'll be having a talk with few people every week, and 3 people will be talking about themselves for 2 minutes each. Let us know our Rotarians. That is the project, which will be there along with the speakers meet. We'll have 3 people addressing the club about themselves so that we will know our own members. Our club is one of the oldest club, and also it is having a huge strength. Let us know our own members so that there'll be better bonding, better business relations, and better sharing of support and help and everything. It's for everything. Rotary is for everything. That's actually going to start up from the coming week. So further details I'll be sharing in our group shortly. Yes. And before we close up the meeting, would anyone have to talk anything about any other topics, sir? Okay. Thank you so much, my dear friends. So yes, I would like to request our Joint Secretary, Rotarian Vinay Gandhi Garu, to give the vote of thanks for today's program.
Good evening, Rotarians. Thank you, Srikant Garu, for giving me this opportunity. Firstly, I would thank Vidyasagar Garu for Rotary song. And I wish all the birthday boys happy birthday, and also all the anniversary who is celebrating their anniversaries, happy anniversaries. And I also thank Krishna Kumar Garu for introducing our today's speaker, and also inviting the speaker of the day. And I wholeheartedly thank the only one word I can describe is just outstanding. The topic is also outstanding, and this topic started with the invitation itself, because as soon as I saw the message by President Garu, the duration is written as 2100 seconds. There itself, again, it started, the creativity started from there. And yes, due to paucity of time, we could not get the full from the speaker, but yes, but we have got just a glimpse of creativity. So thank you so much all for attending the session and making it a success. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vinay Gandhi Garu. And special thanks to our Senior Rotarian, past president, and club advisor Krishna Kumar Garu for introducing such a nice speaker and bringing back the memories for the last 27 years. Thank you so much, sir. So thank you so much, my dear Rotarians. And now I would like to adjourn the meeting on this 14th of October with the speaker meet of Mr. John McCarthy. Thank you so much. The meeting has been adjourned. And now it was open for open networking. Thank you. Umeshwar garu, welcome Andy. Nice to see you here. Krishna Kumar garu, Umeshwar garu ani manaki telisina person andi ikkada unnaru mana group loni. He is the person who is into CC cameras and avannini, Vinay Gandhi garu. Umeshwar garu, he is actually an official supplier of CC cams and everything for many organizations and even government also. Mana Indian Railways kuda supply chestunnaru.
Good evening, all.
Thank you. Okay, sir. Thank you so much. So, shall I close the meeting?
Thank you.